Welcome to Willow Healing Matters, the podcast. We are so excited to have you joining us on this journey where we explore different ways to empower your soul, whether it's healing in your kitchen or all the way up in the corporate world. Come with us as we look into different ways to heal your mind, body, and soul.
My virtual obsession, my romantic thriller, is now available on Amazon and other online retailers. This book explores the intersection of loneliness, love, and how chasing perfection through technology can lead to fantasy and reality colliding. My virtual obsession out now. Hey everyone, it's Catherine Crestani with another episode of Willow Healing Matters, and today I am joined by Anthony Dahya. So he is the founder of AI Workflows Agency and the host of the Champion Mindset Collective podcast, which is how we met. So he's based in Auckland and helps New Zealand businesses, leaders, founders, and non-technical teams turn AI from a confusing buzzword into practical business results. As an AI and workflow automation consultant and fractional chief AI officer, he works with businesses to simplify operations, automate repetitive tasks, improve workflows, and create more freedom for business owners and their teams. His approach is practical and human. Start with the real business problem first, then apply AI and automation in a way that supports growth, clarity, and better ways of working. Through his AI Workflows agency, Anthony supports businesses with AI strategy, workflow automation, business process improvement, change management, and practical implementation. And it's built on the idea of automate, optimize, freedom, and helping people work smarter, scale faster, and reclaim time for what matters most. And I know from running a business how important this is as well. And alongside this, through the Champion Mindset Collective podcast, Anthony has meaningful conversations with business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, coaches, authors, and people who have overcome major life and career challenges. The podcast explores mindset, resilience, leadership, personal growth, business transformation, AI, productivity, and what it means to live with a champion mindset. Anthony's own journey has strongly shaped the way he leads and serves others, having experienced career transitions, restructures, redundancy, rejection, and personal challenge. He brings a real human element to his work. He believes technology can help business grow, but mindset, clarity, courage, and leadership are what help people move through that with purpose. So a big welcome to the show, Anthony. And I'm excited to unpack your journey because I know it is a big one that's led you to where you are today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Catherine. It's great to be here. And it's a very big journey, full of twists and turns and ups and downs and lots of speed bumps and hurdles and along the way, yeah.
Well, whose life isn't like that?
Everyone's, it's how you take it though. It's how you perceive it, right? It's happening for us, not to us.
100%. And I'm glad you brought that up and it does become our story, right? That we share. And it's interesting because the episode that has come out just before yours, by the time people are listening to this, we talk about how your story is what makes you unique. So I feel this is such a beautiful segue into what you do, not only bringing people's stories in unique and, through your podcast, but also how you allow people to express themselves through their business by making it easier with AI.
Yeah, absolutely.
So my first question is, how did you come to stepping out of the world that you were living in, for a better lack of explaining that, and then becoming, this advocate of creating, optimizing, making life easier so you can have more freedom and time and doing what you love?
Yeah, well, look, I started my journey in corporate world, and I've been in technology probably 25, 30 years in technology. And, as you know, in corporate world, they're quite slow and change and so on. And I always found that I was kind of like way ahead. Like my brain is almost like Elon Musk. I tend to, be like 100 miles ahead of everyone else, and then people get overwhelmed. So that was a bit of a challenge. But I saw how inefficiency and of product inefficiencies could impact the productivity, but also not just the productivity, but also your self-esteem and who you are as a person and your identity, right? Because, you're constantly banging your head against a brick wall because you can't move forward. And I just got sick of that. And for me, it was a journey of 24 restructures and 4 redundancies. And obviously there was a pattern appearing there, right? And there was like over that 25 years and going through those 24 restructures, which had a big impact in terms of my childhood, which I can talk about as well. But like those restructures showed me that there was a bit of a pattern appearing and the time was getting shorter and shorter in between those redundancies. So for me, the last one, which was in 2024, was the one that kind of, I guess, pushed me into or gave me the realization that I'm not meant to be doing this anymore. I'm meant to be actually working for myself. So then, with AI coming on the scene, I mean, AI has been around since the 60s, but since AI actually became more available to businesses, I thought, well, small, medium businesses could benefit from this. And so what I did is I decided to start my AI Workflows business agency to help small, medium businesses work smarter and not harder.
Technology. I love that journey too, because, it highlights how I feel if you hadn't come to that realization, you would have just kept in that cycle of redundancies and restructures and that, and this is where I say to people, look at the signs in your life because the universe will keep turning them up. And like you said, it kept getting quicker and quicker and quicker because they're like, oh my goodness, he still hasn't got the message. He still hasn't got the message. He still hasn't got the message. Oh yes, he's got the message. And then,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. To give you context, the first one was in 2000. The second one was in 2019. The third one was in 2023. And then the fourth one was in 2024, 3 months into the role.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is 3 months into a role in a council organization.
So for anyone tuning in from America or overseas, basically in Australia and New Zealand, I feel it's the same. If you get a role in council, you're pretty much set.
It's a job for life.
It's a job for life. It's really hard to get fired unless you really, really stuff up, and you can sit there comfortably, get beautiful benefits. Like it's a very cushy position. So the fact that that role got made redundant is really interesting in terms of, and you would have gone in with that mindset too, right, Anthony? Like, yeah, I'm set. I've got this job. This is amazing. I'm working for council. I'm done. That's it. I'm ready.
Yes and no, because I actually went in during a restructure, and then I came out the other end through another restructure. But the thing is, I knew that having gone through it so many times, I knew that the times were that basically businesses were going to go through a lot of this over and over and over and over again. But for me also was the fact that did I really want to work for someone anymore, or do I actually want to? Because I'm 55 now, so I was like, I don't want to be sitting in my deathbed at some time in the future, looking back and going, I didn't back myself and I didn't believe myself. So for me, it was like, okay, this is the last straw. It's time for me to build something for myself, and so I did, and like having the two brands, I can talk more about this, but having the two brands, I had to then also work out how do I integrate these two brands together so that I'm not running two businesses, but they're actually integrated businesses. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that you don't feel like you have to keep stepping into different roles, jumping between the two, right? You want it more integrative and collaborative rather than separate things. And I love too that you have created the AI to work for you on your podcast and your brand as much. It's like the perfect example of how your technology can support you in doing whatever you're passionate about as well.
Yeah, well, as you know, as a podcaster, and most people who go into podcasting think that it's a sweet job, it's a sweet thing, and you're going to have a lot of fun, which you do. But what most people don't realize how much work happens behind the scenes. And for me, the way I work is I hold myself to quite high standards, and so it would take me almost a whole day to release an episode, 8 hours or more. And then what I did is, okay, well, I thought to myself late last year was that now that we've got AI on the scene, how can I systemize and how can I automate some of these things so that I'm not spending as much time? So I ended up building my website through Lovable AI, and I ended up automating and systemizing all of that stuff. Now it takes me less than a quarter of the time to release an episode. The longest thing that takes me is the actual editing. And thanks to Riverside, it actually makes it so much easier because last year using Filmora Wondershare, I would spend a couple of hours at least. But with the tools available, it's so much easier. And then doing simple things like integrating your YouTube channel to your website, so you don't have to manually go and copy and paste stuff. You just literally open the thing and select the video you want, and it automatically puts it in. So there's a whole lot of systemization. Even my guesting process. So as you know, getting a guest on board, you have to go back and forth the emails and a whole lot of stuff, right? You came through my guesting process. What was your experience? Let me ask you.
Well, everything was done pretty much in the one email. It's like one and done kind of thing. So it was just easy. And I guess this is where, and it's interesting for me from developing my podcasting form of what I get from people. I slowly started adding more things from learning. Like, actually, no, that'd be really handy to have the person's phone number so I can text them if I drop out or if they can't connect, or it'd be really handy to have this information from them. And now just talking to you from before, I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I should put a section where they can upload their headshot, so all these kinds of things come from it, but you just put it all in the one package. So it's done. It's like, oh yeah, here it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was two reasons for that. One was to simplify the process for the guest, but then also simplify and reduce the time that it takes me to do all that stuff. And what I've got on my side is a whole guesting management system that I've built. And so when you submit a form, it automatically appears in there. I can then go, after the discovery call, I can then go push the approve button and you get an email saying you've been approved. You go to that link, fill out the information. Now, all of the information that you provide gets stored and then repurposed for when the show notes get created, when the script gets created. So all of that stuff uses the information that you provided to me. So I was like, I don't want to just have information for the sake of having information, but I want to use it in some shape or form. So
yeah, and I love the unique way that you present each of your guests through your podcast as well. And aligned. Yeah.
Every guest, every episode has an episode page with all the guest details. It has the episode information. It has the videos. It has an article that's written from the transcript, and also the transcript gets converted or distilled down into a 3 to 4 page practical guide that you can actually download and start to apply those principles in your life. So how many times have you listened to an episode and you've forgotten everything that was said on there? But imagine being able to download this 3-page guide and be able to go, how can I put this into practice now so I can then go through the change and actually become the better version of me? Yeah.
Yeah, which is amazing. With all the AI that you use, how do you not lose yourself within the AI?
So I've built a brain that, my second brain, effectively.
Thank you. Just like, hang on, you're counteracting the question there.
No. So within my platform, because most people will think my championmindsetcollective.com is a website. On the front side of the front end of it, it is a website. But in the back end, there is so much automation, so much context for AI. So when Gemini in the back end is you doing something for me, it's actually referencing a brain, and it's referencing information about me and my voice. So when it crafts it, it knows exactly how to. So for example, let's take a script for an episode, right? I've now got drop-down list with Anthony's voice and different types of styles that I want to create the script in. And then there's another drop-down where I can say, I want to go have a deep and meaningful conversation, or I want to just have a general conversation, or I want to go into, I've got different options. And based on that, Gemini will in the back end, creates the script for me. Then once I've done that, I will read through it and just make sure if there's anything I want to update or edit. And then I push a button and it sends an email to the guest and says, here's your script. Here's your questions. So, yeah.
So I guess in summary of that is that obviously you had to put a lot of work in the background to make sure it was aligned with what you wanted to share. But also, I like that you emphasize that you still read through and edit and change things, because I feel that's where a lot of people get lost, where they'll just do plain acceptance of whatever comes through rather than using their discernment to challenge if it's
Yes.
aligned or not.
So I'll give you an example on what's today. Today is Thursday. So on Tuesday night, I did an interview with a person, and the guy said to me, "Your questions are very AI-ish," and I was like, "Yeah, I thought they were, and they're very long." So I took his
Feedback.
feedback on board. I then went to ChatGPT and I said, "Hey, Chat, this is what's going on. Can we simplify this?" So then it gave me the prompt. I put that into Lovable and I said, "Now, can you build into this to make sure that I can have the control on how I want that script to sound like?" So what I've done there is I've taken live feedback from a guest straight after an episode, made changes so that the next episode is not the same. So it's all about, and when you're doing software development, it's all about iterations. Every iteration you do, you've got to make it better than what it was before. And so you've got to go through that process of, looking back and going, okay, reflecting back and going, okay, what worked, what didn't work, and what can I change to make it better the next time? And if we do that, even in our own lives as human beings, when we become aware of those things, then we become a better version of ourselves.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel too, so how have you noticed that applying these optimization tools, what are the changes that have happened in your life because you're not putting all that time and energy into medial tasks?
I have more time to have more conversations. I have more time to do the things that I've been putting on the back burner. I'm in the process of building an academy within. So that's the other thing is you've got the video, the article, the guide. You've got the chatbot that also has a knowledge base behind it. And now I'm building an academy where people can then come on, and it's got like it's a SKOOL school type platform, and it has a classroom, it has courses, and there'll be like group coaching, there'll be all sorts of stuff and events. So it gives me more time to plan and build that stuff. And then at some point, I can't do everything myself, but at some point, as I start to bring cash in and I can start bringing other people on board to help me do that, and I can start stepping up and at the CEO level where I'm meant to be, not doing the doing, but just having conversations. In an ideal point in time, I want to be able to just turn up to an interview and have a conversation and not worry about everything else because someone else is taking care of that, even with the use of AI.
Yeah. And I feel reflecting that back, it's like you are putting in the hard work now so that you can create the systems to give you that more flexibility and freedom so you can do more of what you love as you step further into your business.
100%. And if you listen to the mindset mentor, Rob Dial, he says, do you want to do the hard stuff now and have an easier life later? Or do you want to have an easy life now and do the hard stuff later? Ask yourself that question. For me, it's do the hard stuff now.
Well, that's
Yeah.
for me in a reading the other week. The thing that came through was choose your level of suffering. So would you rather suffer now doing the hard stuff so that your life is easier later? Or would you rather suffer later because you put off doing the hard stuff that would allow
Yeah.
you to get to
And
where you wanted? Yeah.
exactly. And like a guest of mine, Joe Gilserium, he said that um, either way, so whether you work in a job or whether you're an entrepreneur, either way, you're going to suffer.
Yes.
So do you want to suffer at someone else's hand or do you want to suffer at your own hand? So think about it. Like entrepreneurship is not for everyone.
No.
But if you are an entrepreneur, suffering is part of life. You're going to suffer, but the thing is, you can lessen that suffering if you start becoming aware and start taking steps to become a better version of yourself and start changing. Because if nothing changes, you're just going to be the same.
I was listening, I think I was listening to somebody, and it said, if you're not choosing to change every day and expand who you are, aren't you just taking one step closer to dying? because you're not really living, because you're not choosing to embrace the need. Like, it's not about push, push, push. We're not talking about this push hustle culture. In fact, Anthony is creating systems to pull you away from that. So you don't have to do that, right?
I don't.
Yeah, exactly. And we can't maintain being in that hustle culture. This is about actually, all right, what is my dream? What is my vision? What are the steps I need to take to get there? And how can I actually use this technology coming through and the tools to make that easier on me? And, when I was working as a speech pathologist, I'm sure everyone's heard this, but it's like the KISS principle, keep it simple, stupid. So once you get these beautiful systems that are simple and able to help you get through the day, why are you doing all the hard work to
Yeah.
to make your life harder, rather than, oh, I can just feed it into this system that I've got trained that knows what I want, to allow it to come out the other side. Check it's still okay. Use your discernment there. But at the same time, you save so much time. I know for me personally, starting to use AI as a tool has saved me time on editing. It's saved me time on not just my podcast, but also like my book writing and my articles that I write and things like that. Also, marketing campaigns, it takes forever and like a fortune, whereas you can start to get these really nitty gritty things, but actually embracing it and giving it feedback. And don't get me wrong, some days it's terrible. Some days it's
It
like
is.
you have to walk away and you're like, today's not a day. It's a sign. I'm going to go outside or do something today, or just have conversations and focus on something that you're passionate about.
Yeah, AI also needs a rest from time to time.
My co-host on a new podcast I'm doing, he calls it the lazy employee.
Yeah.
You need to give it some annual leave.
You do. And I was talking to on Monday. I did my first AI coaching session with a business owner, and I said to her, I said, "Look, we will not be discussing tools in this session." And she looked at me and I said, "No, this session is about strategy. It's about understanding your vision, your mission, objectives, and then understanding where your bottlenecks are." And I said, then we're going to create a plan. So I had built an assessment, which is again built through Lovable, and it's built through AI. And it's got 6 areas of your business, and you go through, answer a whole lot of questions. And then at the end of it, it produces a report, which you can download in a PDF and take away with you. And the conversation we had before we did the assessment, and everything we discussed, when we downloaded the report and we saw it on the screen, it was exactly what we talked about. So, so now, then she says, well, I said, well, now you've got clarity. You see, most people going after tools, the capability and the execution side of things, I feel that's not going to help you. I don't want to say it's the wrong way. It's probably not the best way.
Band-Aid? The Band-Aid?
Well, basically you're chasing tools rather than understanding what the problem is, right, that you're solving. So first of all, you've got to have a foundation, and your foundation is your mindset, because you've first of all got to be able to adopt AI and embrace it. But then you've got to have clarity as to where are you going in your business, and also, so where are you going in your business, and then it's just reconnecting.
You're good. You're still here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where are you in your business, and what are the steps that we need to take to get there, right? So we've got to have the clarity first and the mindset. Once you have that foundation, then you can look at the capability of tools and execution. Because if otherwise you're building a skyscraper on sandy ground. Now, if you live in Dubai, that might be okay because they're really good at building skyscrapers in the desert, right? But like, you want to be able to get clarity first. And for me, early this year was, how do I use AI Workflows Agency and Champion Mindset as integrated? Champion Mindset Collective provides the education, the credibility, the authority. It provides the mindset and the clarity, right? Then AI Workflows Agency helps with the business side of it.
Tools.
And then the tools, and then also once the client is onboarded, they go back into the Champion Mindset Academy, and then they go through a course, and they go through And it's a course where they're not just doing a self-paced course. They're actually getting mentored. Every week there's a group call, a masterclass, and then accountability calls, and you're actually stepping them through like you would as a business coach. So I'm kind of blending the two together.
I feel it would be like, right, you have an idea of what you want to do. So instead of learning the basics, you just go start doing it. And then all of a sudden you run into all these problems and you're like, oh my goodness, why don't I understand that? And you're like, but you forgot to get the foundation skills. It's like from a spiritual point of view, I've met people who I've had as clients where they were working with a different practitioner who decided to open all their psychic gifts but forget to step them through that, so that when they opened, it was like this full-on onslaught of oversensory, over too much. It was all too much. Like it was, and then they just closed the box because it was like, oh my goodness, this is too overwhelming. Whereas if we went, like when I then worked through, it was like, okay, well, let's put some protective structures in place. Like let's actually build up what we need to get to in order for this to work. Because if you don't put, like you said, those foundation steps in there, then it stops it from you being able to utilize everything. So, if you don't have in my words, it's like spiritual hygiene. If you don't have the spiritual hygiene, then you're just going to be clogged up, right?
Yeah,
It's too much.
yeah,
The tools aren't going
yeah,
to work because you
yeah,
haven't bothered to fix the things at the start. Yeah.
yeah. And for this client that I was taking through in the business coaching, she had some reservations why because she wouldn't use AI. And I said, well, what is it? And she said, well, it's the risk and the security, because she's got clients as a digital marketer, and she doesn't want her clients' information going into LLMs. So I said, well, let me ask you a question, or let me make a statement. And I said, I had a guest on my podcast, and if you look up Manoj Agarwal, his name is, I think he calls his business AI Merge. And he said to me, you don't put crude oil into your car. And I went, sorry? He goes, you don't put crude oil into your car. I said, no, put refined oil in your car. He said, well, why would you then go into the LLMs and put your data in there, right? So it's almost better to build something else that can query the large language models, but you've got to make sure that your data is secure. So for her, she didn't want her clients' information ending up in the LLM. Right? So a large language model is, if you don't know what an LLM is. So I said, well, let's look at how we can solve that problem. So it's a problem to solve. It's not it's not like something that, she's not going to be able to embrace AI. It's just that she's just got something that in front of her that's kind of like stopping her from moving forward. And there's a fear there, right?
Mm.
So the fear comes from what? Well, why do you feel fearful? It's uncertainty, right? There's no clarity. So once you have the clarity and the mindset, then everything else is easy.
Yeah, and I find that interesting too, because sometimes I'll use AI to create things for my clients. And what I'll do is I'll put in snippets of conversations I've had. I haven't put their details, I haven't put who they are. I've just put moments that were captured in time that were the same themes that kept coming up again and again. Or if they've shared testimonials or reviews, I'll put, hey, here are the reviews. Can you, which anyone can find because they've posted them publicly. Can you find the themes in this so I can generate something out of it? And it's still keeping that anonymous. And I understand your client's fears because my background in allied health, I was so resistant to go into a cloud-based management system because I said, what stops someone logging in and getting all the data? But then all of a sudden I'm like, hang on, the doctors are doing it, all the other allied health are doing it. Clearly apparently this is acceptable now, and I guess it's on the encryption that's happening on the other end, whether or not. And in saying that, when we did go to the cloud-based system, it made it so much easier to do a lot of things from home and access information that
Yeah,
you would previously have to remotely log in to get, like all these other things. So I get where that resistance comes from. And I know a lot of the
yeah,
people I work with, the resistance is also losing themselves to the technology. And
yeah,
what is that information being used for? So I
yeah.
guess that's
I
where
mean,
that is.
a good example is that a lot of people have accidents and die on the road.
Yeah. Doesn't mean you don't drive. Yeah.
But does that stop you from driving your car? No, no. But you just build up a resilience to, hey, there's always going to be some idiots on the road, and you might be one of them, right? But you take that risk anyway, right? And just stepping outside your door is a risk. I mean, but you don't know what's going to happen, but you take that. It's like you've got to have that certainty without the logic that everything's going to be okay. Yeah.
Well, I feel like
Yeah.
it steps into that whole law of attraction, right? Like attracts like. So even, when, if you always fear that you're going to have a lawsuit, then you're just going to pull the lawsuit because your brain's looking for a lawsuit. Whereas, if you're like, no, I'm fine, it's going to be okay. I've got things in place anyway. I'm not saying if you have to have insurances and things, please, this is not me saying not to get those.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're just taking a step and know that you're okay no matter what.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to focus on it.
Yeah. The energy that you've got, the vibration that you're creating is putting that to the universe, and the universe is then going, you want more of this? Sure. Here you go. So when you say, I don't want a lawsuit, then you go, oh, you want more of that? No, here you go. And the thing is, we've got this thing called the reticular articulating system in our brain. It's called the RAS, and it's a filter that filters everything else out. So whatever you feed it, it's going to look for that, and it's going to try and solve that problem. So if you've ever wanted to buy a car and you like a particular color, then guess what? Every time you drive down the road, you're going to see the same color and that car. Like it's like someone saying, look for everything that's green in the room. Are you going to look for anything else other than green?
No.
No. So your brain's focused on just zoning in on that particular thing. So the question you've got to ask yourself, your mind is a garden, and you're sowing seeds in the garden by the way you think, you feel, and you act, because your reality is created by your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. So if you're feeding your garden with negative or thoughts and emotions, then you're growing negative plants, effectively. You're growing weeds, effectively, right? Instead of flowers.
Well, I guess sometimes they don't even grow. This is the thing.
No.
Because you haven't put the energy in it. Or my other favorite is you don't plant seeds and then dig them up halfway through, right? To see if they're growing.
No, because you trust. You've got trust.
You got
right?
trust.
Because you grow a seed, and you know that you've got the certainty that it's actually growing beneath the dirt. The other thing is, like, I was talking to a friend on the weekend, and I said, we were at lunch, and I said, okay, you've ordered a meal. Do you doubt that that meal is going to come? She goes, no. I said, then you've got to believe that things are going to happen. So when you go to a restaurant, you order a meal, you know that it's coming. You've got an expectation that it's coming. So the more you live your life like, I expect great things to happen for me, I expect these things to happen to, expect shitloads of money to come to me, excuse my French, then what you're doing is you're actually putting those intentions out, and those are the things that you're going to draw towards you.
100%. And this is such an important thing that people need to remember when trying to manifest or law of attraction, or, if your business isn't working how you want it to work, it's actually an invitation to start to look for you exactly how you guided that client through a deeper process of understanding where the bottlenecks were and what wasn't working and getting that clarity. Because otherwise it doesn't matter what tools you have. If you don't understand where the problem is, then it's really hard to apply anything to allow it to shift, and allow it to work. And as we start to finish our time together, Anthony, I asked the guests that come on the show, if you could heal or change something in the world, what would it be?
Well, look, I've had this dream for about 3 years that at some point in the not so distant future, I would like to establish an organization that helps people who have gone through abandonment and rejection, like I did at the age of 7, to come and heal and become whole in themselves, and then live their life to the fullest. So if I could do that, that would be absolutely amazing, because then we wouldn't have such a broken world. Not that people who have been abandoned are broken. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken, but it's like the systems are broken in terms of being able to give help. And I have a love-hate relationship with the government anyway. So
As do most who come on my show.
what I want to do, this podcast, Champion Mindset Collective, that I created, is based on the principles of Mahatma Gandhi, who said, "Be the change in the world that you want to see." And so that's what I'm doing, is being the change that I want to see. And lastly, I just want to say that I can change my world, you can change your world, but together, collectively, we can change the whole world. One last thing I just want to say is that, champion your life. I actually want to say you are loved, you are worthy, champion your life, champion your greatness, and have an amazing day.
Yeah, beautiful. And if people want to come and find you in the Champion Mindset Collective, where can they go, Anthony?
They could just go to my website, which is www.championmindsetcollective.com. You can search my name on Google and you'll find me all over Google.
Otherwise, and if for everyone listening, if you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to like, share, or subscribe. If you have someone curious about AI and using it in their world in terms of their business or definitely in their podcasting, Anthony is definitely the man to come and talk to. So please check out the links in the show notes as well.
Look, I've done about 206 episodes as of last night. I want to encourage you to go to the website, go look up the episodes, go to the page, read the articles, and then go and download the practical guide. It's free. You just have to put in your email and phone number, your name and email and so on, and you can download that and you can actually start to make change in your life right now. So you can go listen, read, and download and change your life.
Yeah. And do that. Everyone listening, do that. Go choose to change your life, because the only time your life is going to change if you make the choice and then step into action to make it happen. If you keep passively hoping and praying for the world to change and do nothing about it, then just like Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world, because that's the only way it's going to change. So a big thank you to everyone for listening. And thank you, Anthony, for being on the show and sharing how you've innovated AI to work for you, but also how important mindset, clarity, and choosing to be the change you want to see, is in this world.
Thank you, Catherine.
Hey, beautiful souls. It is Catherine Crestani here, and I wanted to have a chat with you about a really amazing cacao that I drink to help me get in ceremony, to help me ground, but also just because it tastes freaking good. So if you're curious and want to know about drinking something other than coffee or your standard tea, why not check out Creation Cacao? I love this with a bit of honey and cinnamon sprinkled in and just letting it brew and having that whole intention as you create this cup. So if you're curious and want to know more, check out the link in the show notes and in the bio and enjoy your cup of cacao.
Thank you for listening to Willow Healing Matters, the podcast. We have so much love and gratitude that you have taken the time out of your day to empower you on your healing journey. The views shared by the person being interviewed might not necessarily reflect that of the host and should be used at your own discernment. Trust what resonates for you and follow your heart and soul guidance. If you have any underlying medical conditions or mental health issues, please consult with your healthcare provider before pursuing any of the recommendations. Likewise, you can always contact the person being interviewed to find out more information. This can be found in the show notes. Remember to activate, align, heal, empower, and find love in everything that you do.